not angry. I'm not angry at all. It's the system. The system has us lost and confused. I'm right here trying to make a better way for my life. Trying to understand how I'm close to happiness because I'm challenging myself to understand my mindset. I'm battling all the pain that came from yesterday. I don't deserve to be lost in my head. And the only way I can have true freedom is to stay away from something that don't have no love for me. No amount of money can buy me or have me humble myself to sit beside something that does not make any sense. I want to enjoy this venture on this planet, but I'm torn and tired of being torn by white supremacy. I'm tired of the madness, of the confusion intentionally caused by systematic slavery in America. I don't need no pen, no pad, or nothing. I see with my own eyes. I realize yesterday's history is today's towards tomorrow's jokes of lies and deceit. And those who carry the baton of ignore it, just move forward, is just as culpable or in fault as the ones that began this self-destruction of the black community, the foundation of black Americans. We don't need this to continue. We need our financial needs met. To this day, they buffering all communities with an opening of a border intentionally to fill communities no matter what the people have, what issues they have, and destroying and getting rid of the African Americans, the foundational black Americans that are here on this earth, whether it be lock us down, make us go crazy, continuing to deny us, have us emasculated, have us respect, obey inside of gentrification or rainbow coalitions, or just ignore us completely. It's not race baiting. This is not extreme racist hate. It's not hate speech. And I'm not trying to be politically correct. They need to cut that motherfucking check for us now. Ain't no if, ain't no ands, ain't no buts. They have the money. It is time now for us to receive what's entitled to us with a true apology from the United States of America. You don't need to be an Anglo whites or white Anglo-Saxons or white extreme supremacists or you boot kissing, licking gatekeepers. You don't need to be in turmoil because you hear a voice of reasoning. I don't need nobody to come to me and talk to me and say pipe down. I don't need you to come to me at all. You know the damn truth. However, you are still on code with the ignorance. Inside of that White House, the man, if you will, for a lack of a better word, that's being chosen as representative for the Republicans, Trump, and Joe Biden, neither of the two of them have our interests at heart. The foundational black Americans, it means us as black people. That means us foundational black Americans, black males, and the females that still claim and they're not code switching. Those that want to accept instead of running away from the love and the joy of being a black person. They have none of our interests at heart. They don't want to do nothing for us whatsoever. The cleansing of the world to put in order. With my own naked eyes, I can see that with that cleansing comes an elimination, an annihilation, a depletion, an obsolete, cancel of black human beings, point blank. That's what your goal is. And we can see it as easy as everything else. It's unjust, it's unfair, and we can't live our life like this. I think it's very important for all black people to stand up and be accounted for. Somehow, some way, let your voice be heard. We no longer tolerate this.
About a week, but they're not telling us that now, since all this construction and everything, gentrification is moving in, they're trying to pipe and annex water to go from here to there. But why weren't y'all doing this when black folks were there? And don't you know they just put an African American museum down in Charleston?
Of course. They do that right there. And like I said, I saw some of that jankiness going on down there by the riverfront versus when you back up on the street. And what I'm saying is that understand that all that investment, it follows the same pattern. That is not for the residents of Charleston. That's for the gentrifiers coming into Charleston. Because Lowe's is not going to be cheap. The value of everything on that riverfront is about to skyrocket. And what I did my first film, 7 a.m., that is Charleston's economic bomb right there. That's the economic nuclear bomb right there. And it's going to blast everything around it. In the case of that monster, that Lowe's facility is going to redefine that riverfront. And from here on in, it will be nothing but billion-dollar developments on that riverfront. Not in Myrtle Beach, not in Florida, but in Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. And like I say, coming off the freeway, it don't look like much. Let me let y'all know, for someone who's been there, it doesn't look like much when you're getting off the freeway. But when you get around there where Mother Bethel is, let me tell you, Mother Bethel Baptist, that Mother Bethel Church, that thing is right in the middle of the action. I'm not telling you what somebody else told me. I'm telling you what I got on video and what I've recorded. Mother Bethel, where Dylan Roof set up here and massacred all those people, that church is in the middle of the action. My people in church is right in the middle of it. It's at ground zero, that church is in the middle of prime real estate. Prime real estate. And yes, Market Street down there where they got the slave auction place down there and stuff, where they show they got the monument talking about where the slaves were let off at. Yeah. And Mother Bethel is just a couple of blocks away. And folks are out there. It's like a 24-hour party and stuff, especially when the weather gets warmer. But that church is in prime real estate. And when I see that, I'm like, oh, I know where this is going. Y'all got to go. Okay, if we have a caller calling in from outside the country or whatever, you need to let my mods know in the chat room. Let me get caller from area code 703. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Mike from Alexandria, Virginia.
Okay, Mike from Alexandria. What's on your mind?
So, what you were saying earlier about about how basically they promote people that are less qualified and they skip over black people. I'm just gonna share my story real quick. Like, I got a marketing degree in Norfolk, Virginia. Started working for a shipping company down there. When I was hired, I was told, "Oh, we're gonna have you work customer service for a year just to get accustomed to the job, and then we'll move you up to an analyst position to utilize your degree." And I ended up working there for basically 2 years, but right before I quit, a little white kid that went to the same school as me, got the same business degree as me, they were like, "Oh, we're going to have you train him." And, him being young, he didn't know any better. He told me, he's like, "Yeah, they're going to give me the analyst position," even though like 2 months before that, I had asked my manager, "Am I going to get it?" And they told me, "Oh, just keep working. Something will come up." And, so basically that's what you said is facts. My dad told me that too. They give them these positions immediately. So you could be working there for multiple years and they help their own people out, get them making money young. I'm 29. I was a veteran too, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's a system. These folks don't just stumble and trip and fall into these things. They are given it. This is what white privilege is. It is unearned. We've been yelling the whole time. It's unearned benefits. He's in line for it merely because he was born. You, on the other hand, have to work and scrap and scrape and wait 10 times longer and work 20 times harder to get the same thing he is given. And I'm saying, if that's the system we in, then damn it, if we cannot all be equally comfortable, we will all be equally uncomfortable. Y'all drop it off to him, drop it off over here. Cut the check. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Now let me get caller from area code 812. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Sean from Indianapolis.
All right, Sean from Indianapolis. What's on your mind?
I kind of disagree. I do disagree that our people are not, instilled with entrepreneurial abilities. I think us.
I'm not sure who said that, but okay, go ahead.
I think us continuing to work these jobs for corporate America, white man America, where we give them a third of our lives, 10 hours, 8 hours, 6 days a week, overtime, and then we pay a third in taxes, those who voluntarily pay that. And, we just falling in line with the rest of America who's getting screwed. I think we need to be encouraging each other to go out there and do the jobs that, we currently do, but do them for ourselves. So don't work for a company who, you sell security for. Go out there and knock on doors and produce your own security.
Well, I mean,
jobs or whatever.
here's the problem with that. And while that does work in some micro markets, it's certainly viable. The quote self-employed route can be viable. Here's the issue. The reason why we have large corporations is because economies, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on which end you're on, economies are most advantageous when they work on economies of scale. So your ability to scale up a business is going to determine how competitive you are against everyone else. Sam Walton started with a small dollar store. He scaled up Walmart into the behemoth that it is today. And as a result, his local mom and pop competition could not then and cannot now hold a candle to him, because the bottom line is that when all things are equal, the only tiebreaker is price. And if you've got an economy of scale, you can undercut everybody else on price. So while in theory, being self-employed does work to a limited extent, the problem is once you run into players of larger scale, you'll simply be swallowed up by them because they can undercut whatever price you have. At that point, your customers would look kind of stupid going outside of them, especially, for example, when there's an economic downturn. They may want to shop with you, but their pockets are going to dictate where they go. So we're just, theoretically, it has a limited effect.
Whether someone's selling fruit that they cut up in their kitchen and they go out and sell in the morning, whether they're cleaning homes, I guarantee you'll make more cash doing that than working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, paying taxes automatically through that.
Not in Mobile, Alabama, you won't. Not in Mobile, Alabama, not in Poughkeepsie, not in Fargo, not in Duluth. So for those of you who may come from certain large cities where that kind of thing flies, like I say, these are limited things that can work in limited areas, but it's not something that really goes nationally. So I'm not saying it doesn't work. Well, yeah, it does. People do it, but it really is a niche thing in that regard. If we're going to have, we're 14% of the population. Jewish people are 6% of the population. Asians are 6% of the population. The only difference between us and them is that they've been allowed and helped to have an actual economic foundation so they can scale things up, which in turn protects the economy that they built. We don't have that. So we're not really going to be safe until we have the funding and capitalization to build an economic floor and scale ourselves up so that we're not vulnerable to being undercut or taken over.
Well, I just think we need to be more encouraging on the entrepreneurial side. We as a people need to get away from these 9-to-5 jobs. But on a side note, I do want to say, I think we need, Vicky Diller tells us, and it's already out there, that our police are trained by, Israel tactics. And if that's true, then we as a people need to pay attention to what's going on with Israel and Palestine right now. And we need to be for Palestine, and we need to talk about it more, because they go...
Well, the world taught them that themselves. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. We're getting off the topic there a bit, but America taught these other folks, not the other way around. The other folks here are just working on the details. Caller from area code 405, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes, this is Black Johnson from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Hi, Black Johnson. What's on your mind?
A couple of things. You were talking about, earlier on in your broadcast, you were talking about the panhandle and what have you. I would also like to put out in the conversation about here in Oklahoma, we have a lot of quote-unquote natives and people that claim to be members of these various Indian tribes and stuff like that, and they have unique license tags and stuff, say Cherokee Nation, Seminole, what have you. And a lot of these, you look at these people, blonde hair, blue eyed, English last names, so on and so forth. And again, just to go to your point about, you were talking about it soon, I went to the University of Oklahoma and I know the story. I would like to say this, and I'll land my plane there. The original capital of Oklahoma was supposed to be in Guthrie, Oklahoma, which is about 30 miles north of Oklahoma City, what have you, on I-35. in the middle of the night, someone took the seal of the state and took it back to Oklahoma City and made that the capital. I believe part of the reason for that was that Guthrie was a predominantly black town. So with that, I just wanted to put that out there for the audience, something to think about, and also to research. B1$.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me get caller from area code 678. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, yes. My name is CJ, calling out of Atlanta.
All right, CJ out of Atlanta. What's on your mind?
Yeah, 2 points. One, I remember working at some of these jobs that hire majority black people as employees, and what you're saying is right. You know, they hire a lot of black people, but they don't pay them a lot. And one of the things that they do also like to do is they like to withhold check from you for certain reasons, or they will take money out of your check for whatever reason. Like the gentleman who called, say that he worked at Spectrum. I also worked in a subcontracting company for Spectrum, and they would, every single time I would do a job, almost every time, they would find some way to take money out of my check. Yeah, that's my first point. Second point is the things that they're doing for these immigrants over there, where they're making sure that they get all this money and all this funding and everything. You know, I'm over here in Atlanta. I see water boys over here. They're constantly on the exits out here working and everything. When Keisha Bottoms was in office, she was actually coming up with ways to punish the water boys, you know, being out here doing what they're supposed to do. But no one actually ever lifts the finger to help these children out here. These are black children out here.
I mean, the real thing is you have to have a plan for that kind of thing. Keisha Bottom B was a political puppet. She needs to be down there in Magic City. That's where she needs to be. But what is lacking in Atlanta is a comprehensive plan, because if those were young white kids standing out there on Peachtree, and like I said, I would see them when I was, one of the places I like to stay in Atlanta is the W Hotel downtown. But you know, when you spin that block to come back and go around the freeway and whatnot, I think off Ted Turner Way or whatever, you spin the block to come, that's probably down where the Westin is, but when you spin the block to come back around with the freeways to get back on the loop and everything, yeah, I passed those kids many times. And if those were young white boys out there, they would have already been gotten up off of those street corners to begin with. That would have already happened. Whether they wish to get off of it or not, by the way, it wouldn't have been optional. They would have been gotten up off of there, and their community would have made sure they were all right. The city council would have been on top of that. No, what you got in Atlanta is, well, we ain't got time for that. We need to put up more rainbow flags. That's what you got there. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get called from area code 240. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes, my name is Garvey from Washington, D.C.
Okay, Garvey from D.C. What's on your mind?
You're welcome.
Yeah, I just want to say, I hear a lot of the problems that's plaguing the black community. What solutions can we come up with? I know reparations is one. I think group economics should be number two. We need to flock the cities that's just predominantly black and support one another.
Okay, well, that sounds like a solution right there, sir. So it sounds like you already got it. So get to work.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for giving us a call. Folks, if you can ask what's the solution, you already know. You already figured out what the solution was from what we said. So, okay, get to work on it. You don't have to wait for a go sign. Here's your go sign. Go. Caller from area code 571. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Shakir. I'm calling from Arlington, Virginia.
Okay, Shakir from Arlington. What's on your mind?
You were talking earlier about being knowledgeable when you speak with other people. Well, when I do my research, I consult the Library of Congress subject headings, and it is the most widely used subject vocabulary in the world. I use it to search the internet. I use it to search specialized databases. It contains all subjects from science to religion, to history,
just
social
all
science,
depends on
literature,
how I feel
philosophy,
and
so
the
forth.
title.
What it is the subject headings of modern
I watch
man.
a lot of other
So I
content
suggest to anyone who
creators.
wants to subject wants to find out
and
anything
whatever
on any
just
subject,
like
to start
I
there.
want to talk about,
And
I'll
you
talk
also
about.
mentioned
I
something
also
about
do.
politicians,
I do a
black
lot of
politicians.
different things.
I read
Just
something that's
always
very
read the
interesting.
title and kind of
And
take
it's
it
an
from
option
there.
that's not open to us. But I read
I'm not no
that all
specific
political power
channel.
is gained through the
I'm
barrel
all
of a
over
gun.
the place.
Now,
It's
Malcolm
just
X
like
said,
me.
you see how other
It's
people got
sporadic.
straight with their problem. You can see how you can get straight with your problem. Now, that option is not open to us, but I found that very interesting when I read it.
Well, definitely, when you get serious about things, you get serious about it. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 951. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, that
Hey,
was
Jason, this is the Church of
that
Black
was
Power.
summing up in verse.
All right, Church of Black Power. What's on your mind?
I originally came up in Los Angeles. I was born out there. And to hear
Yeah,
they're trying to give all this money
like
in order to do these food trucks and do these food carts or whatever, and do these the situation with the rent buying the building. Imagine if the people on Skid Row out there got that $90 million or 99
Oh,
years.
brother, I'll do you a better one. I'll do you a better one. Now, you say you was from L.A., so you're going to already know what I'm talking about then. Dude, now remember, it's been a couple of years since I was out in California. I try to get out there, it's a hard thing because California's just way away from everything. So y'all know me. I don't get to go on a regular basis, but I was out. I don't think they're finished with that subway going up Crenshaw yet. I don't think they're done with that yet. Okay, then you already know where I'm going. $15 million to Chinatown. Now you know damn well they've been using that subway to run black folk off of Crenshaw. I seen it. Now let me go ahead and remind people here, because you from there, but for the folks who are not, they don't know what you know, which is that thing running straight up Crenshaw, that was going straight by Nipsey Hussle's store, the Marathon store. I know, I got it on video. I seen it. I've been there. I spun the block about 7 or 8 times, which is not really the safest thing to do in California. But anyway, with Louisiana license plates on a big black truck, I don't advise it, but I couldn't change vehicles. But if you know that area, as soon as you turn off the street right there, the neighborhoods are not bombed out over there, nothing like that. It's a nice neighborhood over there. Big palm trees and everything. But that subway line is going straight up Crenshaw. Nipsey was one of the ones who could afford to fight it and stay, but y'all know damn well it's running black folk or businesses or storefronts out of that whole area up there. $15 million would go a long damn way to reestablishing that. It sure would.
Absolutely. And to be honest with you, I ain't caring what anybody got to say whatsoever. If you ain't cutting a check, President Couch looking real good. Be one.
President Couch, I like that. He said, I'm voting President Couch 2024. All right, we'll take that. We'll take that. Yeah, buddy, could you imagine what they could do? Could you imagine what they could do? $15 million in that area while they've been targeting it for destruction. Could you imagine what 15 million could do in some black folks' hands over there? Oh, they don't have to imagine it. They already know. They already know. Let me get a caller here on the line. I'm not sure. I'm letting y'all know here, by the way, in the future, you're going to want to make sure that you let the moderators know if you're calling in from outside of the country. Okay. Folks, if you're calling in from outside the country, because if you got, masked
Henry,
numbers or if it's private numbers or whatever here,
salute.
Just to make sure we don't have a troll situation here, if that's you, please let my mods know that you're calling in. We keep telling you that. Let the mods know you're calling in. I can't take a bunch of anonymous numbers.
Trying to be a better person.
Let me get calling from area code 559. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Just keep moving forward.
Hey, it's Martin.
I got everything I want.
All right, Martin out of Oakland. What's on your mind?
Just taking one day at a time.
Oh,
Great broadcast. Basically what I was noticing about the broadcast, hello everybody, is how the process in order to make sure somebody doesn't become homeless or the people don't become homeless, that solution that we talk about in the Black community is, we always try to figure out what the solution is. We just have to really look at what is being done to other communities. So in this case, $15 million, no questions asked, before somebody becomes homeless. So the institution jumps in to save you before you become homeless. When it's Black folks, it's, well, we got to talk about these shelters, and what's going on with these shelters being overrun and all these other things, opposed to the actual solution, which is to cut the check before you become homeless. And based off your broadcast, I learned that.
Well, definitely in places like New York, take a look at billions of dollars of resources being galvanized in New York. Didn't take them, after talking about they got a mandate since the 70s and yet didn't do nothing with Black folk. You bring in a bunch of illegals and all of a sudden, instantaneously, no legislation required, no fight, no study, no commission, no nothing. They've galvanized billions of dollars for 140,000 illegal aliens.
Point, I don't know if
the Black folk in New York didn't get nothing galvanized for them, still don't. Los Angeles didn't and still don't. They have a big outdoor fish fry in LA on Skid Row for Thanksgiving. I should know, I was there. I was in Los Angeles on Thanksgiving a few years ago. That's what they do on Skid Row on Thanksgiving. The police come down there and block off streets and stuff like that, and that's what they do down there. Now they've wasted billions of dollars on some program that was supposed to help the homeless, ain't did a damn thing. Now they want to make another program so it can give oversight to the old program that was wasting money and didn't get nothing done. Get the hell out of here. Cut the damn check.
My sinuses have been
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight.
And my speech hasn't been as great.
Caller Miracle 619, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
So I'm kind of like trying to heal so I don't
Caller Miracle 619, you're on live.
up when I do.
Caller from Area Code 619 has been abducted. Caller from Area Code 914, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, good night, Jason. My name is Michael, and I'm calling from Bronx, New York.
Hi, Michael from the Bronx. What's on your mind?
I was listening to the topic tonight, and one of the most hurtful thing is when I hear other Black people talk about, oh, you're playing the victim Olympics and this, and it's. I want to ask you a question. I'm a Black man. You're a Black man. These Black people, and there's a lot of time is Black people saying these stuff, and I'm like, you can't see that the system targets you. It's like sometimes it's just frustrated to see that other black people saying this stuff. I don't know if they playing a game.
Well, first of all, when you hear that kind of thing, their lineage is very important to know. If you're in New York City, because you're in the Bronx, okay, you got a lot of Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, we can go down the list there, Haitians, Caribbeans, so it's good to know what their background is, because that might be one area of explanation. Here's another one. Brother, you got to understand, colonization is as much mental and emotional as it is physical. When somebody feels powerless, when you start just talking, mentioning resistance, they start exposing how they really feel, which is, oh, we getting scared. Oh, we getting worried. Oh, you gonna make trouble for us. So just recognize when that starts showing itself. I've said this now for over 15 years. Nobody who is Black is ignorant about the existence of racism and what it means. Nobody. There are only two types of Black people. Those who recognize that racism and white supremacy exists and fight it, and those who recognize racism and white supremacy exists and go back to picking the cotton. And when you realize that that's where they're coming from, that you're showing them that, they start arguing in the other direction. Remember, there's the famous video now of Malcolm X sitting up here talking to the news reporter, telling about racism and white supremacy. News reporter turns to a Black fella standing around. Well, sir, how do you feel about that? Well, I really feel like Black folks really just need to try harder, and, things getting better. And just, this is 1960s. This is standing right in front of El Haj Malik El Shabazz, right there, and they had no problem finding a Negro to sit there and start disputing him and talk about how bad things aren't. This was in the middle of segregation and Jim Crow. in the heart of it, and they had no problem finding Negroes sit here and talk about, well, we really need to work hard on ourselves, and why we gotta keep, we can't blame everybody else, And so, that's what it's always been, and the bottom line is that's fear talking. It's fear because they're afraid of what will happen. They're like, hey, if these folks will let me walk around like a roach and don't step on me today, then I feel like I found the cheat code. Yeah, you call it the roach code, but it's a cheat code. So just recognize, brother, you can give a person a lot of things. You can't give them courage and character. You can't. I'll let you have the last word.
Yes. Do you feel that that's a form of coping mechanism too, though?
Oh, absolutely.
That's how they deal with it. They know it.
That is the very definition of a coping mechanism. That is the quintessential definition of a coping mechanism. You are looking at the house on fire. You are looking at your mother and your daughters being sexually assaulted. You are looking at your kids being beat up. This man is standing behind you, whipping you with a cat of nine tails, and you talk about, well, it could be worse. That's the very definition of a coping mechanism, because what are you doing? What you're doing is rationalizing doing nothing. You're blame shifting, you're scapegoating, you're changing the subject, you're living in denial. You're doing everything to avoid the simple and obvious. And what that illustrates, you're more afraid of change than you are of your wretched condition. And if other people make change, that puts more of a spotlight on your wretched condition. So just understand, folks are afraid of change, especially if they've gotten comfortable in the slum and the cesspool they're in. Now they just want you to shut up talking about the cesspool. Stop reminding me about the damn cesspool. I'm in it, I smell it, it reeks, but it could be worse. But what's really bad is you keep trying to remind me I'm in it. If you just shut up. And brother, you have masses of people like that. Not just one or two, masses. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. You got whole masses of groups of people like that, man. On social media, you can find them in great, big, huge groups and globs. The Sage Steels and their ilk. Stop reminding me about the slum. Caller Mary Code 785, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Caller Mary Code 785, you're on live. All right, caller Mary Code 785 has been abducted. Caller from area code 860, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason, it's me, Roland from Hartford, Connecticut. I was just checking in. I like the conversation.
Roland from Hartford was on your mind.
Yes, sir. I wanted to check in about talking about it from a security perspective. I used to work private security for over 10 plus years, and I do have like a master's degree. I got 6 more classes until I got my master's. I could not get any management level security where I'm in control of a unit or anything of that nature. And it's been like that for like almost like 5 to 10 years. And I'll give another example. Like I recently joined this one security firm. I came in as a supervisor. They end up losing the contract at the hospital. They said that they backed out of it. Who knows? The contract was lost. Then I applied for a management job within the state, right? They told me that I had an interview, so I'm preparing for my interview. I get a text. He calls me to tell me that, by the way, we canceled the interview, but I'm going to give you a job that's $18, which is $3 less than what you're already making, and that's the best I can offer. This is why we need to have reparations, and anybody speaking against it need to really be stoned like in the biblical days, or shoot like in the Middle East, because this is ridiculous that we have to go through anything like this as American citizens.
I mean,
I want to say
what you're describing is the wholesale This is what happens when you weaponize an economy. When you turn an economy into your weapon, this is what it looks like. It becomes this really strange, bizarre place. Folks talking about, AI and the Matrix. This is the Matrix right here. Some weird, strange, amalgamated reality where folks are up is down and left is right, and whatever they say is real on the day they say it is. And yeah, that's what this is. A weaponized economy is the Matrix. I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah, Jason, I just get annoyed because they tell our black youth to go to these colleges, go to these institutions, and they have nothing for our children. They have nothing for our people. And this is why entrepreneurship is very vital. And they're even taking away from the economic floor, so we can't be self-sufficient. So we can leave off of their plantation. So it seems like every I say legal avenue, because some of us like to be very legal. Like it is what it is, and you have some people that's going to do what they do. There's no shade to the game. But the reality is that they're shutting down all the legal aspects for us to get money, and that's when they're going to make the most rational people the most irrational people. Unfortunately.
No, let me explain something to you. Right and wrong are defined by those in power. Now, to my Christian friends and my Muslim friends and my religious folk, you'll find that to be a little unpalatable, but it's the truth. This concept of right and wrong, well, that's defined by who's in power. Whoever is in power gets to ultimately define that. That doesn't mean that you don't have your own personal predilections. Look it up. That doesn't mean that you don't have your own personal ideas or preferences or concepts of what right or wrong are for you. That doesn't mean that. But it certainly means that you cannot enforce it on a societal level. So what you can walk around in the society and do to or in the presence of other people, what is determined as, quote, right and wrong, well, that's determined by who's in power. So you see, it's wrong for you and me to operate a business without a business license, but it's right for the illegal aliens. Even though they told you that no one is supposed to operate without a business license, without insurance. Oh, well, those folks over there will turn a blind eye. So you have your written laws, and then you have your unenforced ones. And that's what comprises, quote, unquote, right and wrong. So I'm very flexible in that area where that's concerned because I understand that concept. I understand that right and wrong, to people who are being oppressed, folks are constantly in your face talking about what wrong is and what's wrong and what you need to not do and you need to stop doing. But to people who are empowered, folks don't talk to them about what's wrong. The only conversations with them are about what's right. Let me give you all a very simple reminder. For example, in these majority white states or these majority white areas and regions, I remind you all, my truckers already know this. There are areas in this country where you don't have speed limits. Or the speed limit is so damn high, it might as well not be a speed limit at all. There is an area out in West Texas, for example. I've been there a few times. You pass the speed limit sign, that damn thing says 95. That's not a highway number, that's the speed limit. When I saw that, I'm like, are you kidding me? No, it's not a joke. And it's not my truck drivers will tell you, that's not the only one in America. But you know what they don't have out there? A bunch of black folk. So in the areas that's so-called rural and where there's no black folk around, you start seeing fewer laws. No traffic lights, no traffic speed limit lights, no speed limit, no drug offenses. The white folk can do all the meth they want to do in the trailer parks. Soon as black folks start showing up, here come laws. Here comes wrong. Oh, you can't do that. Here it comes.
Well, Jason, I just want to close out this one thing. What they're doing is what he did was erected a barrier within the it's in the field of security. And what I mean is that for order for black people or anybody in the security industry in the state of Connecticut, for them to create their own business, they have to have a within leadership role within like 5 years or so. So that's like their blue wall to make it harder for our demographics
to gain access to that type of level of authority and that type of level of power within the industry of security. And for him to keep denying someone who has 10 plus years, college education, etc., different credentials within the security and clearances, all they doing is hurting themselves within the company, one aspect, but also they're hurting. It's almost like a monopoly.
Well, yes, it is a monopoly, but they're not. Just understand, they're not hurting themselves, because remember this: white supremacy would rather make $1,000 that they own than to make $10,000 that they don't. And if working with you means they don't own that $10,000, they would rather make $1,000 that they own than to make $10,000 with you that they don't. Mull it over for a little while. Yeah, I done blew some minds in here tonight. I blew some minds in here tonight about the speed limit thing, but by the way, my truck drivers will tell you about that. I don't have to tell you anything. My truck drivers who drive across the flyover country, they'll tell you about that. My truck drivers in here will tell you that there are areas in this country, now granted, they're outside of any major metropolitan areas. No, that's what I'm talking about, West Texas and whatnot. But yeah, that's why I'm telling you, yeah. My truck drivers will tell you there are areas in this country that either don't have a speed limit or effectively don't have one. My truckers will tell you that. It's only when you're getting closer to black folk, that speed limit keep coming down, keep coming down, keep coming down. But where they out there and there's not a bunch of black folk, all of a sudden there ain't no speed limit. What you talking about? What do you mean? We ain't worried about that. My truck drivers will tell you about that all day. Most of the folks are like, no, that can't be. Jason, that can't be right. Okay, my truckers will, because most of you don't live in those areas. Yeah, you're black. You're black and you're not in those areas like that. That's why I'm naming where you see that at. I got folk in here talking about Nevada and Utah. I got folk in here talking about, hey, and in Nevada and in Utah. They're like, oh yeah. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, if you all remember back in the 90s, I want to say it was Arizona and Utah wanted to fight that thing about speed limits all together. So I do want you to understand, if you didn't know, when the places where there are fewer black people, there are fewer laws. You talk about these Indian reservations and where white folk have their enclaves. You talking about Utah. Folks, tell me a predominantly black city where being a prostitute is legal. Show me a predominantly black place where being a hoe is legal. All of the legal whorehouses are where the white folk run things. All the legal hoe houses are where the white folk run things and where the white folk make the laws. That's where where prostitution is legal. Black folk, lock them up left, right, and center. Sex trafficking, whole damn 9 yards. Ain't no sex trafficking where the white folk are the only people there. Black folks show up, sex trafficking. Hell, P. Diddy, you in a hotel room, sex trafficking. But the folk who are actually doing the sex trafficking, the white folk, where they at, where they run things, where they're the majority of the population, it's legal. Gambling, where the majority is white, it's legal. Licenses, what the hell is that? You name it. Black folk, mass incarceration when we did drugs. White folk got it legal and didn't have to pass a single damn law. They just, quote, decriminalized. They did, remember, up there in the New England states, they ignored the opioid epidemic. They ignored the heroin epidemic. They just allowed the white folk to do it. Black folk with crack, they putting handcuffs on you. The white folk can shoot up and do their drugs, and nobody was messing with them. At the exact same time that they're arresting black folk for crack, cocaine, powder cocaine, and marijuana. The white folk can do their drugs drugs, and the police just walking by and ain't nobody doing nothing, and the mayor talking about we need to have treatment. But as soon as it's majority black, we need to clean up the streets. So with white folk, they need help. They need treatment. With black folk, they need incarceration. We need to clean up the streets. Right and wrong are concepts determined by those in power, and they are the ones who will enforce what they consider to be right or wrong, whether it is constructive or destructive. And what you will find is that when you are black, wrong starts being a word you hear all the time. Did you ever think about the psychological effect that has on someone? Did you all consider the psychological effect that has on someone on both sides to be somebody who always hears you're wrong, always wrong? That creates PTSD. You're wrong. Everything's wrong. Now consider the other side. You are free, white, and 21. You don't ever hear wrong. Everything is your right, or at least you don't hear anything is not right. Whatever you do is just what you do. But you don't get battered and bludgeoned and beaten with wrong. Nobody's in your face 24/7 saying wrong. Drive your Dodge Charger as fast as you want to. Your Mustang as fast as you want to. Eat whatever you want to. Wear whatever you want to. Go wherever you want to. Do whatever you want to. And our system will back you. If somebody tries to stop you, the system gonna step in and grab them, not you. You consider the psychological effect that has on somebody? You think you're ever going to be able to stop him from discriminating against you, penalizing you, persecuting you? You think you're ever going to be able to stop him from doing that? When he's been conditioned that he is in charge of what's right or wrong? Hell, that there is no wrong, there's just whatever he does, and oh well, it sucks being you. Consider that. I just thought you should consider that. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we are here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, you want to go and check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m., Gentrified, Race War, all available on DVD and streaming. Go to blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. I want to thank FBA Bro Rees, Freedom Shahid Ali, Quentin Sowell, and everyone else here who have become members of the channel here tonight. Thank you very much for your support. I want to thank all of you for tuning in live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. Thank you to everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future.
I don't know what the fuck happened. Nah, I ain't freestyle. I passed the fuck out. What the fuck happened? I just fell asleep all of a sudden, like, damn. Nah, I had to come back and do another one to freestyle. It's just, this right here is not for that. I'm gonna holler at you later, man. Thanks for coming through, y'all. It's the Trap God. If I come back tonight, I might hit him up and do some rapping. But right now, it's just, the title speaks for itself. I'll holler at y'all later, man. Much love. Come on back later, another time.